is the Magnate.
Hello, you're welcome to this week's edition of the Magnate. The Magnate is a program that parades chief executive officers, heads of professional bodies, and of course, those that matter in the society. We focus on different professions, and guess what we are focusing on today? We want to throw a searchlight on the education sector. How about that? Have you ever thought of what the faith-based institutions, the value they add to the society? That will be our focus on this conversation today. The program is the Magnate. Do remember that we have our various social media handles that you can always follow us on. And of course, the program is still open for partnership and sponsorship. Let's give you the background report of our Magnate for the week. When we come back, bet it will be a very engaging session. We're back shortly.
Alhaji Abdulwahid Obalakun hails from Igboora in Oyo State, but was born in Lagos. He had all his educational pursuits in Lagos with his early primary education at the Apostolic Church Primary School in Ebute Metta, Okeodo High School for his secondary education, rounding it off at the University of Lagos to study physics education. His passion for education dates back. He started his educational business with a primary school and later progressed to secondary education, catching them young and impacting morals and co-education on the young ones. His leadership qualities started from being an MSS Imam, which later progressed to being the Amir of Ebute Metta Area Council. Alhaji Abdulwahid Obalakun is the proprietor of Great Khilafa College and the president of League of Muslim Schools Proprietors. He also has a stint with oil and gas sector. He is happily married with children.
Welcome back. The program is the Magnate, and it's a great pleasure to welcome to the Magnate in a very, very natural, serene environment. We caught up with him, and he is Alhaji Abdulwahid Obalakun, the president of NIMS. You are welcome to the program.
You are welcome.
Now, the Magnate is the program. You are the president of LIMS. Tell us, what exactly is LIMS in a nutshell?
LIMS is a League of Muslim School Proprietors worldwide. LIMS is a body of Muslim proprietors in Nigeria and the world over.
Okay, so it's global.
It's global. We have the proprietor of Muslim schools as members, and we have our program run for both the proprietor, the head of schools, the students, and even the PTA, which are the parents of the students.
Let us look at the state of education in the country. I'm not talking of global, since your own body is a global one. In Nigeria now, let's zero in. How would you describe the state of education in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, we discovered that education is meant to create. We educate to create. That is, when you got educated, then you should bring out something out of it, at least an action from it. But in most cases in Nigeria, we educate to store. We store knowledge. We store knowledge. We are too bookish. The global trend is skill acquisition. You know, the knowledge is immediately translates into action. But in our country, it is not yet. We are not yet there. So we need to move away from storing knowledge instead of actioning our knowledge.
Okay, when you talk about skill acquisition, you have brought out some bit of requirements in some educational sector. Even right from secondary school, they talk about skill acquisition, they talk about entrepreneurial skill, the students acquiring entrepreneurial skill so that they don't just depend on the white-collar job. What's your take on this?
Actually, we talk about it, but are we actioning it? Are we actioning it? We have it, it's in our curriculum. At least we have the 6334. That is to say that in the GSS class, they are expected to acquire some, technical knowledge, the intro text something. But how many of our intro tech lab are equipped? How many of the schools are actually, doing the curriculum? When you have a school that their lab are not functioning. Some they don't even have the lab at all. All they do is theory. So how do we now get the results expected from the curriculum?
Okay, you just touched a very sensitive aspect there. I remember that when we now started having junior class and senior class, that some students in junior class are meant to specialize in certain skills. You may correct me if I'm wrong there.
Exactly, that is it. So that at the end of the day, at the end of their GSS class, if they are not academically sound, they will move to technical school.
Okay.
And those who are academically sound, they move into their SS class and move to the university.
Okay.
But it's still theory.
Okay, you know there are different types of schools in the country. Different people are now so concerned like you, and they also establish and set up schools. What do you think the faith-based schools, what value do you think those have added to the educational sector in the country?
The expected thing from the faith-based school, one, we have lost in the ground of morals in our schools, both the teachers, the administrators, the students. The faith-based school are expected to return it.
To correct that.
To correct that, exactly. They need to correct that.
It doesn't matter which divides.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it is the Christian-based school or the Muslim-based school. It is expected that in any school that is faith-based school, you see that moral, you see that compassion, you see that integrity. The character of their own student should be different, and you should be able to ask, merely seeing a student and say, this one must have attended a faith-based school. But where that one is lacking, then those faith-based schools, yes, they are not actually what they claim to be.
So let's look at your other side. Some people believe that some of these faith-based schools, they really don't have enough muscle in terms of the financial base and all that. So some people describe them as more or less mushroom. That is what some people can afford. How do you clear this?
The mushroom school, as called, they don't have structures, but they have personnel, committed and dedicated personnel, who actually imparts the students. And when it comes to coming for competitions, you discover the standard schools are even running away, facing the so-called mushroom schools when it comes to competition, because they fear that they may be, disgraced. So you see some schools, so-called standard school, they improve on their activities because of a nearby mushroom schools.
Okay, you just mentioned something that maybe money. Some people also feel that the quality of teachers that you employ are those you can probably pay peanuts, and then you get, they are really not so-called qualified to do the needful. Is that correct?
One, that's not correct. One, they are qualified, but in terms of payment, the payment is actually low of what
the state government
or federal offers, right? It is true, but you can't take one fact away, that they are committed, they are contented.
They sit on service.
Exactly, and contentment is the needed ingredient in this service delivery.
Very, very well said. I mean, you talked about, we are still talking to the president of LIMS, national or global president as it were. We'll be back to continue the conversation and of course give you excerpts of the conference that was held recently that brought together all the proprietors, global, because we also had some foreign participants in that conference. Let's give you this short break. We'll be back to continue the conversation. Join us shortly.
The League of Muslim School Proprietors, LIMS Worldwide, successfully hosted a 2-day national conference themed Optimizing Performance in the 21st Century Education Business, an Islamic holistic approach, bringing together Islamic scholars and professors, school leaders, stakeholders, and even visionary leaders from across the globe. Prior to the conference, our media team had the opportunity to speak with guests and organizers on their expectations from the conference.
Our expectation is that participants, after the 2-day event, should be able to optimize their school to a level of 21st century. And equally, we want them to imbibe the use of technology in our school, as this is what is going on in the modern education.
The chairman of the day, Dr. Abdul Hakim Abdul Latif, thereafter delivered an opening remark where he appreciated the organizers for the initiative behind the conference, while urging the proprietors present to attend the conference with a growth mindset and to optimize their time to learn more from the event. The keynote speaker, Dr. Adeni Zafaron, talked briefly about the theme, where he highlighted the fact that the school as the second agent of socialization after the parents is in danger because of substandard teachers and inadequate teaching resources. Professor Abdulateef Adeyemo counseled proprietors on the need to renew their intention. A key moment of the conference was a virtual lecture delivered by Barrister Taiwo Akinlami, a former social development and family attorney, who talked extensively on the relationship between the law and the educational system. The highlight of the conference was a virtual presentation by Mr. Tarun Bala, who talked about how schools should include teaching children how to code and make small robots to make it easy for them to determine their career path early on. The day concluded with an interactive networking session, allowing school owners to connect and exchange experiences. Day 2 featured sessions focusing on implementing innovative teaching methods and the importance of professionalism as a Muslim educator. The key moment was a lecture delivered by Professor Abdulateef Kilani, where he talked extensively on the various transformations to implement in the Islamic educational system. He took the opportunity to engage the proprietors present in a participatory exercise to emphasize the importance of eradicating most of the ills in schools and the need to adopt a blended method of learning. The conference transited to an interactive panel session moderated by Hajia Bilkis Bukola Daudu Oshuala, principal of First Criterion College. A key moment of the conference was a virtual presentation by Mrs. Agatha Willam, who emphasized on the need for educators to always continue to adapt and learn in this changing world. The climax of the conference was a virtual speech by Mr. Amol Arora, who highlighted the need to improve the situation of schools in Nigeria, implement innovative teaching methods, and having a working educational system for smooth operations even in the absence of the school owner. The conference concluded with goodwill messages from chairmen of LIMS in different states that were in attendance. After the conference, our media team had an interactive session with dignitaries, organizers, and guests.
Actually, the title, which is optimizing the performances in schools, I've actually gained a lot. I discovered that we need to improve our teaching methodologies, especially integrating technology into our delivery.
The president shared his expectations with us at the beginning of the conference. Has it been met?
We are very grateful that the targets were actually met for the conference.
We wish the League of Muslim School Proprietors continued success in their journey to promoting Islamic holistic education.
You're welcome back. This is the Magnates coming to you from the studios of Ames Media Company Limited. We are in a natural ambience. Really enjoying myself here. And I'm sure so also my guest of the week, Alhaji Abdulwahid Obalakun, the president of LIMS. And we're going to be talking about LIMS now. But before we go into LIMS, let's ask this question again. Over the years, in fact, even before you graduated from your tertiary institution, you set up an educational institute to mold children from cradle. What is the fulfillment you have gotten from this? Having molded these children over 2 decades, and you see them excelling in different fields. What kind of fulfillment do you derive from that?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I'm very grateful to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for being part of a new Nigeria and a new world, the world of our dream. Like when I said that, is we hope to have an environment where people will have the fear of their Lord and as well be a good sample for humanity. And alhamdulillah that I can see that in my students as they graduate, their activities at their institutions and the rest. So many students now, the fear of the parents sending their children to our institution is that won't they go there and join cults? Won't they go there and join bad gang? And alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin that I have not heard of such records from my graduates from my school. So alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.
Okay, congratulations for that. Now, LIMS. Whatever informed that, is it that you saw a gap and you needed to fill it? That some proprietors were just doing whatever they liked and you thought there should be an umbrella body to bring them together because they said two good heads are better than one. What value do you think coming together from LIMS has been able to add or impact positively on even running these Muslim private schools, as it were?
In fact, the question, I've said it all. The coming up of the faith-based schools, what informed it is the lack in the existing schools around, lack of morals, lack of good characters, and the rest. And the same thing, when we have proprietors here and there, we discover that they need to be coordinated. We need to set standard, because individual standard, individual aspiration may vary, and at the same time it may easily get even lost in the big environment. So we discover that if you are able to come together, as one, then as you said, two good heads are better than one. If you bring your dream onto the table, I bring my own dream onto the table, we cannot look at it and see how we can synchronize it into the larger system and make sure that we still maintain our focus. So that's exactly what brought about LIMS.
Okay, we have opportunity to be at your conference. What value do you think that conference in particular, I hear is the first one?
Exactly.
What value do you think that conference will bring to the table for the proprietors and to the development, the enhancement of the existing schools?
If you look at the theme of this conference, it's actually optimizing performance in the 21st century education business, Islamic holistic approach. So we are in the 21st century, and we need to put in our best, to get the best out of individual schools. And we are Islamic faith-based school. So how do we approach that from our belief?
Using the tenets of
using the tenet of Islam.
Interesting. So but interestingly enough, I see that you have quite a number of proprietors with you, but at the same time, it's still not all Islamic faith-based schools that are your members. What are you doing about that?
Actually, we have a lot of program and activities. And as I said at the beginning, we have, like now this one is a national thing. At the state level, we have what we call Proprietor Summit. It's an annual event. Okay. We bring proprietors together to come and look at issues from different angles and harmonize. We have a managers forum, school managers forum. This one is meant for the HMs, the principals, the school directors. Okay. It is an annual event. Okay. It's at the state level. We have prefect leadership forum for our prefects. Good. It's for our prefects. And we have PTA, what is it? We have what we call
program for PTA.
For PTA, for PTA. It's an annual event as well. Okay. It's at the
state level. Okay.
And then we have teacher seminar. Okay. That teacher seminar is at the local government level.
Okay, you talk about bridging the gap. Are you looking at the area of capacity building for some of your teachers, particularly for those who are not really professional teachers? Some just graduates, okay, let me use this teaching profession as a stopgap. You will not. Meanwhile, the federal or state government will say you must have something like NCE or go to a teacher's training, So are you looking at that capacity building for some of your teachers?
We do that on a regular basis. Okay. From the local government to the state and to the national. Okay. Like I said, we have teacher seminar at the local government.
That's what you do there.
It's central on the teacher training. Okay. It's a teacher training program. Okay. And it's meant for them. They must have it almost every time. And it is compulsory for every school under umbrella to have a seminar for its teacher every term.
Back to the earlier question, not all your Islamic faith-based schools are your members.
Exactly.
Because I know that some might say, we are too big for them. Let's not just be on our own. What are you doing about that? You wooing them or making things attractive?
We are wooing them, most especially. You know, one, we are not the only faith-based proprietor body, Islamic faith-based proprietor body we have.
Okay.
There are still some others.
Okay.
So we woo them, but only those that we know that they are free from any other one.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. You can't belong to the two. You can't belong to two associations.
We don't have that rule. Anyway, we don't have that rule. But any attempt to say we want to woo them, some other people will see it as we are trying to compete, or we are trying to, take them out of, and we don't want that. But we collaborate.
Okay.
When we have program, we invite them, and they too invite us, so we collaborate. We work together.
Okay, this is neither here nor there, but it's relevant since we are talking about education. You know, this is the Gen Z. Some people call it Gen Z period.
Yeah.
And Gen Z emanates from computer literacy.
Exactly.
You know, this is the AI period and all that. How are you encouraging your members to embrace this computer literacy and then AI, as it were? That's what is on the lips of everybody now.
Number one, in our association, we believe that we have to train the children for their generation. It's our belief.
Gen Z generation.
No, even those who, if you want to train, if we make the mistake and train them for our own generation, believing that what we have is better than they are not going to live in that generation. They are living in this generation, so we have to train them for this generation. So with that, we are adopting all educational, technological machines that are equipment that are available.
I saw the display of robots.
Exactly. It's even part of the one of the lectures delivered at this conference. So we have them.
Now, finally, after the conference, what next? You have succeeded with this 2-day conference, getting people to lend their voice, filling the gap and all that. What's in the offing?
In our association, we have inspectorate departments, and the inspectorate department are trained to go into schools to observe what they do, how well are they doing it. Like at the end of this conference now, the communique will be followed up in our schools to see what changes have they brought into the system after the conference, so as to prepare us and know what next are we going to discuss at the next one.
Okay. But do you, as much as you are viable, it's privately owned and all that, do you normally get state or federal support to ensure that your financial muscle is boosted? And what kind of support do you get? Because there are a lot of bodies that give support to state and federal schools.
As of today, none. Because the state will tell us that the only support that we get from some states is the training. And that one too, before we even start getting it, we need to convince them, because they believe that you are a private business.
You are making money.
Why should we be investing in you?
Earlier on, you talked about competitive activities. Are you proud to see your children excelling in various competitions, particularly mathematics?
Why not?
I have been following.
Why not? We are very proud. In fact, we are very proud, one, because when some of our schools are coming up, some people believe they won't survive because of the financial aspect you talk about. You discover that even some of our schools started from mosque, like my own school. When I was starting 29 years ago, it was in a mosque. We started from a mosque, and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, where we are today. So some people never believe we are going to survive it. Some of these big schools believe that, how are you going to do it? Simply because they know what they have invested and what they are investing. And they are looking at who the proprietor is or was, as at that time, that what can he achieve with this.
Any final word, any counsel, what do you have, parting shots that you want to tell the public about our conversation so far?
One, I want to appeal to the government, both federal and state, that private schools need to be supported. whether it is Christian, most especially the faith-based schools, whether it's a Christian or the Muslim school, they need to be supported. And generally, all private schools. If you look at our system, we pump so much money into agriculture because we want to produce food. But we have discovered that producing men is even the first thing before the food. When we try to train our students, our tomorrow is secured. When we have food to eat, tomorrow is not secured. Right? It's just today that is secured. Exactly, it's hunger of today. But when you train these students, we are securing our tomorrow. So they need to pump money. We need so many schemes, grants, loan. They need to do it. But when they are now planning it, they should not forget the Islamic aspect of it.
Okay, yes.
We, the Islamic-based schools, we will not like anything interest. They know this, and we need, to be respected for it.
Yes, it's been a conversation on the Magnate today. We have been chatting with Alhaji Abdulwahid Obalakun. He is the president of LIMS and also the proprietor. That was what made him the president of LIMS, actually.
Yeah.
The proprietor of Great Khilafah College. Thank you very much for having us.
I'm grateful.
Yes, that has been our program today. I hope you remember to follow us on our various social media handles. The program is still open for partnership and sponsorship. If you enjoyed what you saw today, this is how we do it. We try to bring out those issues and put them in the front burner for you to learn from it. Do join us same time next week when we shall bring you another great magnate, a personality that you will share thoughts with and then learn from. Until then, bye for now.